So today we are going to get into 6 tips on how you can fuel your body for success. Now, what does success even mean? Okay, well, success and what it means to me, and what I bet it means to you as well, is improved energy levels, elevated mood, improved sleep, um, more efficient and comfortable digestion, and adequate gut health, decreased inflammation leading to less joint pain, less bloat, improved cognitive functions. All right, that's what success means to me. Now, here we're going to learn 6 ways that you can start right now fueling your body for success. Now, you may be just starting your nutritional journey and learning how and what foods feel the best and work the best for you. And you may have been on this journey for years and you're doing pretty well, but you want to do freaking great. Okay? These right here are going to take your game up a notch. So on that note, before we get into the tips, I want you to know that if you're loving what I'm putting out here, if this content is really applicable for you, really resonates, this mindset really suits you, stay tuned for the finish, because I have something super special for you that's going to involve us going way deeper than what we're doing on these 6 tips here today. But you got to stay for the finish. And on that note, let's get into it. So tip number 1 is, does your food align with your core values? Okay, I'm starting out with the mindset here because that's honestly what's most important when it comes to nutrition is, where is this at? Is if this is not in a healthy place, an adequate place, if it's not in a relatively organized place, your food's going to be all over the place. Okay, so what are your core values? Well, your core values are the fundamentals, like the morals that you live by. It's kind of like your moral compass. Okay, so for example, my top core value is physical health. Right after that, I have spirituality, growth, and family. So when I'm looking at food and I'm going in to make a decision on what am I going to put in my body, I always ask myself, does this line up with my values? Does this line up with the person I want to become? Okay. 9 out of 10 times when I look at that chocolate chip cookie, it doesn't. However, doesn't mean I can't ever have that chocolate chip cookie. Sometimes it was made from love, let's say from a family member. They put a lot of TLC into it. You know what? I'm going to have that cookie, but I'm not going to have it every day. I'm going to have it on special occasions when there's a lot of meaning behind it. I'm not just recklessly buying Chips Ahoy at the grocery store. So that's an example of, is the food decisions that you're making, do they line up with the person you want to become? And if you don't know who you want to become or what values you live by, then right there is a massive problem that needs to be solved. You can literally go on Google, type in, how do I figure out my core values? And there's tons of different systems. I have my own system. If you want to learn a little deeper, then DM me. But bottom line is, you got to know your core values if you want to succeed within your nutrition. You have to be so clear, because not just your food decisions are made off of that, but all your exercise, your life, your relationships, work, all those things. So get clear on those core values. All right. Tip number 2 here is, consume food that had a life. So the food that you should be eating should have, 1, came from the ground, or 2, came from a mother. The ground or a mother. Some people, if you're religious, say God created it. But bottom line is, your food needed to have a life. We are living beings. We are fueled by things that have been alive. We are not fueled by things that were created in a lab. So if your ingredients cannot be traced back to the life, to a mother or the ground, then guess what? They probably shouldn't be going into your body on a regular basis. Now, I always say the 80-20 rule, the human body is amazing. It can process that stuff made in the lab, but if you give it to your body over and over and over again, it's going to tap out. You're going to start gaining weight. You're going to start experiencing pain. You're going to decrease your energy. Your brain's going to feel foggy, and you're probably going to be developing diseases. So bottom line is, food that had a life. Okay, keep it simple. If your food, if you're like, I'm not sure if this is healthy for me, I'm not sure if this is clean, look at the ingredients. All right. First of all, healthy foods don't list their ingredients. How many times have you gone to the grocery store, gone in the produce section, and the apple lists all of its ingredients on it. No, it doesn't. Okay, so the less ingredients, bottom line is the better. It's got a laundry list on there. Probably isn't something you should be having on a regular basis, and throw it in that 20% on the 80-20 rule. All right, so we have, does our food line up with core values, right? Did our food have a life? Now we are talking about H2O. I'm talking about drinking water like a champion. All right, I really try to embrace a championship mindset when it comes to drinking my water. Okay, champions do things to the absolute fullest, right? They do things the best that they possibly can, and they actually do it better than other people. But in this case, we're just competing with ourselves. We're being a champion amongst our own health. And I say chug like a champ. So what does chugging like a champ look like? That means drinking at least half your body weight in ounces of water. So I weigh 150 pounds. I try and drink at least at bare minimum 75 ounces. Now, if I get a workout in, I probably throw another 25 ounces on top of that. If I'm in higher elevation or drier environments, it goes up even a little bit higher. But bottom line, if you aren't drinking at least half your body weight in ounces, you're killing yourself. You're chronically living in a dehydrated state. We are made, like our brains are made about 70 to 80% water. All right, the money maker is in here. We are made up of water, right? We are H2O beings. And if you are not consuming it, then you are SpongeBob on dry land, right? You are slowly dying. So, little tip to hack your water consumption is first thing when you wake up in the morning, get a little glass of water, 8 to 12 ounces, and just chug her down. Just put her down, embrace your championship mindset, and just chug that H2O. We wake up in a dehydrated state. And let's guess the first beverage most people consume. You got it? Did you get it? Coffee. Coffee, I love coffee. It's a great thing. However, it is acidic. And what that means is it's making us dehydrated. So we wake up naturally in a little bit of a dehydrated state. First thing we drink is coffee. We're now super dehydrated and we haven't even started our day. We wonder why we crash, we lack in energy, our brain isn't as sharp, our muscles aren't recovering as well, we're inflamed. It's because we're living in this acidic state. And by acidic, I mean our pH levels are aiming towards the acidic side. So chug that water. Don't start in the negatives, start in the positives, start in a hydrated state, set yourself up for success at the start of the day. All right. So we've got, does our food line up with our core values? Food that had a life, chug water like a champ. Okay. And I want to remind you right now that if this stuff that I'm putting down, you're picking it up, then stay at the finish because I've gotten something super special for you. It's going to involve a much deeper dive of these 6 tips right here. So very special offering. Stay tuned for the finish. All right. Now, number 4, we're going to go into protein and fiber. Okay. So I already talked about, like, honestly, if you're keeping it simple and you take away from one tip today, food that had a life is a big one. 80-20 rule with food that had a life. However, if we're getting a little more nitpicky with the contents of the food that we're consuming, we want to make sure we are consuming foods with protein and fiber. I say this because a lot of, especially Americans, are drastically depleted in protein and fiber, which is not going to lead us in having a body that is fueled for success. Okay, I'll start with protein on this side of it. Protein's awesome. It boosts your metabolic rate. It helps you feel a little bit more full or satiated, decreases cravings. Protein is awesome. It aids in muscle recovery. When we have a little bit more muscle mass, we burn fat a little bit more efficiently, or we don't store fat as often. We're stronger, therefore we can put more muscle mass on, and that goes and leads into improving our metabolic rate. So bottom line is consume protein. A little trick I have is 2 things. I have my protein shake in the morning. It's one of the first things I have, which I'll talk about in a second. I also take these little amino acid capsules that are made of non-soy, non-GMO legumes that consume are made up of 5 grams of protein that I absorb. They're pre-digestible, so they're 99% of that 5 grams is absorbed. So I start my day off with like 20 grams of protein, okay? And they say, studies show that we should be eating 0.08 to 1.2 grams per pound of mass that we have, or per pound of body weight. So my goal is I'm just trying to get around 15 to 30 grams, probably 2 or 3 meals out of the day. I got my protein shake in there. I got my amino acids, which are a breakdown of protein. And bottom line is just be consuming protein consistently throughout the day, and you'll probably get pretty close to hitting your goals. You can do that through animal products. Just make sure they're ethically sourced. Try to stay to lean meat like chicken and salmon on a regular basis. You could go with non-GMO tofu. I love edamame. Vegan protein powders, I highly recommend. Purium is the one that I get my vegan protein from, as well as my amino acids. Highly, highly recommend. But you find what works best for you. All right. And then fiber is another one, right? Fiber we find in our fruit and vegetables. So fiber is going to really help reduce your appetite. It forms this like gel-like substance that draws water in and slowly moves through your digestive tract, giving you a little bit more feeling of feeling fuller and for longer. Okay. Fiber products like fruit and veg are also really rich in antioxidants, which clear free radicals, which helps reduce inflammation, reduce the likelihood of disease setting in. And bottom line, like I said, you're going to get that from your fruit and veg. So just be intentional, like gain awareness. Don't just mindlessly eat. Like be like, does this have like 1 gram of protein? Okay, probably not the best protein source. Does this have like 10 grams of protein, 15? Awesome. That's great. I'm getting some protein in. You want to be careful with the amount of carbohydrates that are paired up with those. Like if something's 4 grams of protein and like 30 grams of carbohydrates and it's a box of crackers, yet it claims to be high in protein, probably isn't. But bottom line, go back to tip number 2, food that had a life, right? Food that had a life, fruit and veg, ethically sourced animals, man, will rock your world, and you will see your body transform if you stick to a majority of your diet based on those things. All right, team, let's move on. So we've got core values, food that had a life, chug like a champ, protein and fiber. Number 5 is all about optimizing that first meal of the day. Okay, so your body, when you start out the day, is starting on a clean slate. It's fresh. It's ready to absorb the nutrients that you're going to put in your body. So the first thing you put in your body, you want it to be made of the gods. By that, I mean you want it to be freaking clean. You want it to have a rich source of protein, fiber, right, from fruit and veg, all the things. So I already talked about the first thing you probably should put in your body is water, okay? Next thing, right, that first meal, okay, is gonna be, like I said, a source of protein and fiber. Couple examples here. What I personally have almost every day, I vary it a little bit, but pretty consistently, is I make a smoothie or a smoothie bowl. And in that, I throw my vegan protein powder, vanilla or chocolate, depending on how I feel, from Purium. And I have my frozen mixed berries. I have a green powder as well. That's like the equivalent of eating 5 salads, because who has time to eat 5 salads? I don't. So I put my green powder in there. That tastes amazing. Like it's like this apple berry combo as well. I throw in a little water and ice, blend her up. And then on top of that, I put some cashew butter. I try to keep to the cashew butter because it's less processed than peanut butter. And there we go. I've got a healthy source of protein, right? I got 15 grams, almost 20 grams of protein in there. I've got my antioxidants with my fiber. I've got my fats, my healthy fats with the cashew butter. And my body is like absorbing that stuff up. All right. If I wait to eat my cleanest meal at the end of the day, and I've been eating all day, your body's so busy digesting what happened before it. A lot of that you might just leave your body and not actually be absorbed in your body. So bottom line is crush that first meal of the day. If you don't love a good smoothie bowl, I think a good omelet with a bunch of veggies in it is just try to get some greens in there. Try to get some protein. Try to get some fruit. And yeah, first meal of the day, optimize it. You're going to feel so energized if you stick to having that protein, a good clean source of fat, and that carbohydrate. How many of you have eaten like a big old thing of pancakes and felt super energized afterwards? Probably not. Or maybe that greasy, that you went to that cafe, you got that thing of eggs with a side of bacon, ton of fat, protein, no carbohydrates, which you need for energy. Probably didn't feel super good. Right? Start paying attention to how food makes you feel, and you'll learn a lot. But yeah, so optimize that first meal of the day. Make it as clean as possible. I know a lot of you are going to ask about fasting here. Break fast, right? Really just breakfast. I mean, have it or don't have it. It's up to you. I think it depends on your gender. I think it depends on your age. I personally only fast about 12 hours and consume my first meal. My body feels great off that. But once again, going back to that awareness and how you feel. And now tip number 6 right here is make it easy. All right, we all get something called decision fatigue, and it gets worse throughout the rest of the day. So if I'm having to make decisions on what I'm eating all day long, guess what's not going to be great? The decisions I make at the end of the day, because I'm fatigued. So we want to make the decisions we make as easy as possible. How do we do that? Well, we got to automate our choices a little bit. I'm not saying eat the same thing over and over again. Your body needs variety. By variety, I mean like introduce 2 new foods a week that you don't normally eat, or put them in the cycle. Okay, but it is nice to have a little bit of a plan, meal planning. You don't necessarily need to go to the grocery store on Monday and buy your meals for the week, but have a good idea. Like I have about 5 to 7 meals on my rotation that I rotate through, and I mix them up how I make them by a little bit each time. But for the most part, I've got a good idea of like, okay, this is the meals I'm probably going to eat this week. I might bring a new one in, but bottom line is I try to make my decisions as easy as possible. So I have my snacks ready, right? I've got my couple rotations of snacks that I go through. I have my smoothie bowl that I have in the morning that I mix up just a little bit by maybe adding different kinds of milks to it, different kind of butters. But anyways, I keep it, by the time I get to lunch, I'm not tired of making decisions. I'm like ready to make a decision. Or by dinner, I'm ready. We go out to dinner, I'm like ready to make a decision that's really going to serve me. I'm not just exhausted from thinking about what I've been eating all day and I just can't think one more time. So like, just give me whatever's in front of me. And guess what's in front of me today? A thing of chocolate chip cookies. And guess who just ate the whole thing of chocolate chip cookies? This girl, because I'm tired of making decisions all day. So have a plan. All right. Make it easy by having a plan. And then over time, your decisions are going to start. The longer you kind of embrace these tips, it's going to become automated. Making the healthy decisions just going to feel more natural. We want to get to that place. However, you have to try and implement these things in order to get to that place. So give it 30 days, give it 60 days, give it 90 days. What is 90 days of your life? Trying to make a decision that could save your life. So bottom line, guys, here we go. 6 tips. Does your food align with your core values? Food that had a life. Drink water like a champion. Consume your protein and fiber. Optimize your first meal of the day and make it easy. Automate your decisions. Don't get caught up in decision fatigue. Now, I do have a little bonus tip for you before we get to that fun little surprise I had at the end. Bonus tip is just awareness, and I sprinkled it in throughout, is you have to have awareness around what you're eating. If you don't have awareness and you don't know how to gain awareness, then I recommend implementing an awareness practice. I personally meditate. You can do breath work. There's a bunch of different modalities, but you can also just start with setting an intention of, I'm going to gain awareness around what I eat. I'm going to pay attention to the substances that I consume today. You can write it out. You can track it. I don't personally track my macros unless I am for like a specific reason, but not on a regular basis. But if you want to track, look, okay, how much of my food is processed? How much of it had a life? How much alcohol am I consuming? Hopefully not too much. How much water am I drinking throughout the day? And then gain awareness around what you're putting in your body. So you're not just confused where you showed up, you're going to the doctor and they're telling you you're pre-diabetic. You shouldn't get to that point and be surprised. You should be like, oh, yeah, that's because I'm really aware that my eating decisions really aren't great for me. So now I'm going to be really aware of putting good food in my body. Can't tell you honestly how many people get to that place. Don't be that person. We're stopping right now and we're starting anew right now. So here's what I'm going to share with you. That's going to include a deeper dive into what I just told you about. Okay. So like I said, if you're picking up what I'm putting down, and starting April 1, I'm offering a summer bod series, the Advanced Summer Bod series. And it's going to consist of a nutritional transformation, and it's going to include of customized exercise programs. All right. Along with awareness practices to help you be super successful with those things. So if you are really interested in learning how not only how to fuel your body for success, but just how to build a body for success with exercise, with mindset, with nutrition, let me know, because April 1, I'm starting a little group. I'm going to keep it really tight, so there will be limited spots. But if you came in and said that you joined through this YouTube video, then I'm going to give you an extra special bonus. So if you're interested in ditching the COVID weight, or just honestly starting anew, leading a life, demonstrating to your kids, demonstrating to your family, to your friends, like what it means to feel for success. If you want to live for success, energy, elevated mood, boosted metabolism, increased muscle mass, decreased pain, increased strength, like adequate digestive system, like a stomach that doesn't just hurt all the time, consistent bowel movements. Oh, the list seriously can go on, right? Then let me know. Let's get on the Advanced Summer Bod Shred. Let's do it. So how you're going to do that is by going ahead and send me a DM. You can go on my Instagram. You can hit up my email, right? Whatever way works. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed, and I look forward to seeing you in the Advanced Summer Bod series.